names and formulas of molecular compounds, also known as covalent compounds. Molecular compounds and covalent compounds are two just different terms for the same thing. So, first of all, let's just quickly review what a covalent compound is. And we've got to go to our periodic table. Covalent compounds, or molecular compounds, occur between non-metallic elements. The non-metallic elements are the elements on the right-hand side of the staircase, but it doesn't actually include this group. This group, the noble gases, they actually don't make bonds. They're stable. Everything in green gets involved with a covalent bond if it makes a bond. I'm going to start with the compound that you guys all know, H2O. And we're going to look at how to write the name of H2O. You know it as water. But the chemical name is dihydrogen monoxide. Dihydrogen monoxide. We say di because there are two hydrogens. We say mono because there's just one oxygen. And you'll see the second word changes at the end. The end of the word, called the suffix, becomes IDE. So it's not dihydrogen monoxygen, it's dihydrogen monoxide. When we write the name of a covalent compound, what we do is we write the first element down. We use prefixes to indicate the number of that particular atom, and the second element gets the suffix IDE. There are more prefixes that we need to know. 1 being mono, 2 being di, 3 being tri, 4 being tetra, 5 being penta. We can keep going. 6 being hexa. We need to know about 10, all the way up to 10. Let me keep going. 6, 7 is hepta, 8 is octa, like an octopus, 9 is nona, and 10 is deca. Those are the prefixes that we use when we name compounds. Let's do another example. Let's look at carbon dioxide, CO2. Why do we call it carbon dioxide? Well, first of all, it's made of carbon. That's our first element. You notice there's no prefix with it. It's not monocarbon. When we have got just one of the first element, we don't use the prefix mono. We only use the prefix mono if the second or third element has got one. So it's carbon dioxide. We're going to say di because there's two oxygens, and you can see we've changed the word oxygen into oxide. So dioxide. The second element changes to IDE. Let me do one more with you that's a little bit more complex. P2O5. We would call that diphosphorus. Di because there's two phosphoruses, and then pentoxide. We don't really say pentaoxide. We can drop that A and just call it pentoxide. We call it diphosphorus pentoxide because we have 5 oxygens. What about changing it around? What about writing the formula if you are given the name? That's just the reverse. If I gave you the name diphosphorus pentoxide, you know there's going to be 2 phosphoruses and 5 oxygens. If I gave you carbon dioxide, you'll know 1 carbon, because there's no prefix in front of carbon, and then 2 oxygens. And in the same way, if I gave you dihydrogen monoxide, which is the actual name for water, we know there's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. Let's look at some other examples. Tetra means 4, and it's tetrachloride. So that means it's 4 Cls, so it's CCl4. Another one, sulfur hexafluoride. 1 sulfur, hexa is 6, okay, like a hexagon. So it's SF for fluorine, 6. So just to summarize, when you write the formula of a covalent compound or molecular compound, you write the first element down first that appears in the formula. The second one changes to IDE, and you use these prefixes to tell you how many atoms are in that molecule. You never use mono on the first element. When we are starting with the name, we simply look at the name, we look at those prefixes, and that tells us how many of each of those elements are in the molecule. Each of these formulas that we have represent the formula of a molecule. The particles that covalent compounds are made of are molecules, and that's why we call them molecular compounds as well.